I'm Elizabeth Gooding with Inkjet Insight, and I'm very happy to be here today with Dursun Akun from OPM Europa. Dursun is the founder and also the sales manager for the company. Welcome.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Nice to meet you too. I'm a little bit excited to do this interview. So let's see how how we can match up things about our company.
Sounds great. Yeah, well, I was very interested to learn more about your company as part of the Printing Expo online, and particularly the Inkjet integration arena that we're both part of. And as you may or may not know, that we've been doing quite a bit of research into the inkjet integration area, talking both to customers and to suppliers. And it's been interesting to find really how overlapping different parts of the supply chain are. And as I looked into your company, I see you fit that model as well, that you play many roles. You have your completed products that you
Yeah.
sell, you have components for integrators, and then you're sometimes serving as the integrator yourself. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes. I think it sounds a little bit complex of what we do. I mean, we have multi-layer labels that we supply for several customers in Europe. We sell a ready-to-use printing machines from Rigoli, Italy. We have our own developed machine, the Label Saver, which is capable of printing direct to shape. Yeah, it may sound a lot for one company, but I think there are a couple of things that have overlap in all those areas, and these are our primers. I mean, with our primers, pre-coatings that we have developed on our own, it makes us, it enables us to work on all these areas. I think this is one of the few companies in the world right now with these capabilities, offering these pre-coatings so people can coat their own material, print direct to shape, etc., etc. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the direct to shape particularly, I want to get back to that in just a minute, but I don't really see it as that it's too much for one company to be doing, but more as the natural progression. As you're trying to develop something yourself, you find that there are these component pieces that you say, oh, this could be reused on its own. This is a product in its own right, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So we find, by developing these ideas, developing these strategies, you find components, parts that fit our company very, very well. So we can, integrate this in our strategy without putting a lot of effort and energy into it. So this, all these components fit together like a good fitting shoe, I guess.
Yes, that's what we like to hear. So going back to the direct to shape comment, do you think that the big sustainability push that we're seeing around the world, is that driving more of the label applications really towards a direct object, direct to product type of strategy? Would you agree?
Yes, I would definitely agree, Elizabeth. I think, the sustainability that it's um, showing, or the advantages, the flexibilities, and so on. Um, it makes a very interesting technique for the world. Saving on paper, saving on material, and being flexible, or being saving energy for itself. I mean, eliminating the label itself causes so many logistical savings, and then these can be, the effort that you put in, all these types of savings. I mean, when we do a business case with potential customers and we see that the savings on not to having to use labels is so immense, is so big, that the environmental friendliness shows itself by doing the exercise with these customers. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's not just the saving of the materials on the label, it's the workflow itself.
Yes,
So rather than printing many, many labels, if you have to do localize it for language, localize it for regulations,
yeah.
all of those types of things that allow you to
Number of
take a single
SK,
run.
yeah, number of SKUs in your warehouse that can be cut down dramatically because you don't have to store any ready to ship products anymore. So you can, you can almost work on demand and say now at the filling line, we have to um, print this label. It's not actually a label, you print direct on the product. So by eliminating the label, so your um, logistics become extremely flexible, but also easy. It becomes so easy that you can reduce your lead times, for example. So it has really a dramatic effect. Yeah,
Yeah, I guess it also means that people are in this type of business have to learn a little bit more about making these products versioned or data driven, capabilities that they didn't really need to understand before. So
yeah,
there's a consultative approach. So even if you have a ready-made piece of equipment like yours, it
yeah.
may require some support and consulting on the change in the process.
Absolutely. We have to help the customer to understand what it means to their workflow. I mean, your workflow is completely changing um, when you don't have to apply your label. I mean, when you apply a label, you have to order labels 2 weeks, 3 weeks upfront. You have to put them in store. You have your administration around your labels, the stock keeping of the labels, stock keeping of your products, and so on and so on. So if your workflow is changing so dramatically, we have to advise the customer how they could work, consult them, how they can change their workflow and make things much easier than they are used to. We have a couple of examples that I could share, although we have a lot of NDAs with customers and potential customers. I know for a fact that one of our customers that was working with single layers changed into multi-layer labels. And this is, you would say, how do you compare this? It's about reducing SKUs, stock keeping units in your warehouse. When you can do that, we knew for a fact that this customer could save about 15 employees in their warehouse.
Okay,
15,
that's,
yes,
yeah.
15 personnel that could do other things. You don't have to fire them. They could do other things than working in the warehouse by reducing the number of SKUs by 50% or so. So when we use the label saver, that number can be brought down even more than 50%, the stock keeping unit. So this means your efficiency in your warehouse, becomes so efficient that
Hmm.
you can, have personnel do other things, for example, for your own core business instead of being a warehouse.
And with the labor shortages that we're seeing pretty much everywhere, that's very important to be able to redirect those resources other places. So, getting back quickly to the sustainability question, are you also seeing a push from UV to aqueous inks?
Yep.
What's your
Yeah,
position on that?
exactly. Yeah, that was I think from the beginning, that was our idea. I mean, we believe that water-based technology would eventually, let's say, gain markets comparing to UV technology, UV inks, and so on. What we can hear, what we can see, and not only with the customers, but also with suppliers and machine builders. When I talk to operators that work with UV inkjet technology, I mean, they tell, it's so toxic, or it's so um, damaging products that people are not quite willing to work with UV inks, for example. Um, but we can also see that from Brussels, there are new laws coming in or regulations coming in that are not directly forbidding to work with UV, but trying to reduce the use of UV inks. This is what we see coming up for the next following years. And our idea, working with water-based ink technology, gives us that advantage that, that we don't have to worry about, sustainability or environmental friendliness, because all the technology, all the inks, all the products that we use are not non-toxic. So this gives us a advantage in the market, maybe small. I mean, the market is for water-based technology is quite small, but we can see that hopefully it'll make this vertical growth in the coming 10 years. Yeah, that's how we see it. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, we've talked about this in terms of labels, but you can print on, because you're not printing on the label, you can print on more than labels. Do you think of it as product identification in a broader sense, on the product, on packaging? What types of substrates can you handle?
That is a quite big various product range. I mean, the substrates can be plastics, can be metal, can be. We haven't come across a product or a substrate where we couldn't apply our pre-coating. So when we add our pre-coatings and we work with water-based technology, so any type of product you can actually print on, basically. Yeah.
So it could be the corrugated, it could be folding carton, it could be the bottle, it could be a can.
Yeah,
all of those
we
plastic.
have done tests on corrugated. We have done tests on cardboards. We have done tests on paper, just regular paper. We have done tests on flexible films. I'm basically working now on aluminium beverage cans, and we are working on metal paint cans. So the demand is so big. I mean, I can't speed up the demand that we are experiencing right now.
Well, I would imagine, particularly with shortages of many substrates as well, the ability to print directly onto the material just cuts that supply chain issue out as well, which is a big deal. So who would be your typical customers? Are you typically selling directly to the brands or product manufacturers, or are you also
This is
selling to printing companies?
it depends actually. Right now, I mean, we have started our sales only the last 6 months to 3/4 of a year. Our current customers are the bigger chemicals companies, where we supply the multi-layer labels, but we can see the demand or potential customers coming to us vary from the can producers, the machine integrators, the end customers themselves. So there is a very big variation in type of customer. I think at the moment I can't say it's set to these type of customers, because we are the only ones in the world working with these primers, offering this technology right now. So we get attention from literally all over the world, but also from various different customers, potential customers. Yeah.
And so you're customizing it to their needs.
Exactly.
Is there a wide range of kind of entry costs for this product depending on what they're trying to do?
No, there is no entry cost. I mean, we look at each customer, what type of business case that we can offer. If the business case gives us a potential profit, so to say, we start working on the project. So we're handling it each customer as a new project, and to say you want a machine capable printing on the paint cans, that's a a business case on its own.
Okay. I guess what I'm asking is there's a lot of smaller direct to consumer types of producers, and I'm wondering if the cost is too high for a company like that. Do you need to be a major chemical company like you were saying, or could smaller companies be interested in this solution as well?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there is no um, um, let's say quotum to start working with us. I mean, if we can set up a business case, which is, it can be a small company, but it can be a big company. I don't see any difference in that. No, absolutely not.
That's great to hear because there's so many aspects of the packaging industry, particularly where it's, very large devices that, you need upwards of $1 million to get into the market. And what we're seeing with the integration, inkjet integration arena is there are more things that are geared to customers that want to get started with inkjet. I mean, large customers as well,
Yeah.
but that there are fewer barriers to entry for smaller companies to take advantage of
Well,
inkjet.
there is now I understand the question a little bit more, a little bit better. Sorry, Elizabeth. We offer our label saver, especially for the, I think, if I would give a number, our machine will cost about 1/3 of the, let's say, the cheapest of our competitors.
Okay.
So now I understand your question much better. I mean, so with our machine, if you, let's say, print or buy 100,000 labels per year, or 50,000 euros for labels. If you spend 50,000 euros on labels, it would make sense to buy our machine. It would make sense to use our coatings, pre-coatings. So this is how we try to enter the market. I think this is a little bit more enlightening than to say small and big companies. So
Yes, that's very helpful. It gives you something fixed and concrete that you can understand based on
yeah,
the volume of the labels that they're producing. And obviously, if you're doing more and you want to take advantage of localization, versioning, sustainability benefits, uh, food compatibility benefits, etc.,
yeah.
all of those sound like they would make sense.
I think to give you another number, Elizabeth. I mean, if someone if a customer spends about 50,000 euros on labels, the saving can be up to 250,000 euros. That is how how we can compare things. So it's much larger than saving on the label itself. It's much
Right.
bigger than that. It has a, we talked about the logistics and so on and so on. So your savings are 5 times more than your spent on labels.
Right. Yeah, I mean I think that's typical with a lot of conversions to inkjet is yes, the materials themselves may be less expensive, but it's the change to the
Exactly.
workflow, the cost of money, the less
Yeah,
space, fewer people, and all of that is so critical, as I said today, with supply chain shortages, labor shortages. It reduces your risk and has a lot of upside as well. So,
exactly.
so Dursun, thank you so much for walking through the background on these products and your companies. I found this very interesting, and I hope people will come and look at some of the deeper background on the primers and the products at your booth, and also visit your website. And they can also come to our booth at the Printing Online Expo or back to Inkjet Insight and learn more about the integration research that we recently completed.
Thank you.
So let's talk again and learn about some of your customers in a future interview. Sound like fun?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. Thanks
Sure.
for the interview, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Thank you.